So welcome everybody to this webinar about doing business in Chile. We remind you that this is a webinar that we co-organized in collaboration with the H2 Global project. And in this webinar, we're going to present the outcomes of the mission that we carried out last month in Santiago and Valparaiso. And to start with this session, I would like to invite the project coordinator, Gabriela PAREDES, International Project Officer at SOLARTYS, to present a bit the project and the aim of the session.
Thank you so much, Lucia, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm so happy to see faces that we were visiting in last month in Chile. So I will share my presentation with you. Okay, it is in a presentation mode, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are, as Lucia said, the Green Small Smart Cities Coordinator. This is an European project founded by the COSME program under their call Cluster Go International. It brings together five European clusters. That it's SOLARTYS, the coordinators that I am the team of, and we are related to the solar sector, Catalan water partnership, related to sustainable use of the water, green tech from Italy, which is in the sector of green technologies, and from Poland we have MCC Mazovia cluster that is related to ICT technologies, and Nano Progress from Czech Republic, which is nanotechnology sector. We all together are complementing the smart cities concept, and we are part of this consortium. And to talk about a little bit the not familiar with our project, the Green Small Smart Cities has an objective to spread the use of the sustainable solutions from Europe to the less developed regions of the world, and among different European SMEs which are members of our clusters, to making to also share where we could also share the vision to making a better world. And one of the main goals of our project is that we are focused on improvement on the development of different regions in other continents, and also we are developing the concept of Green Small Smart Cities, helping our SMEs with their internationalization strategies, and also facilitating the cross-border collaboration in between our sectors. During this project, we have developed 3 exploratory missions, one for each continent, one in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And we have developed also a different score matrix for each country. In Africa, we have selected Cape Verde and Praia that took place the first exploratory mission in March. The second was in Da Nang City in September, and the third one was in Latin America, in Chile, at the end of October. As I said, we have developed an score matrix in Latin America to choose the best option, and following different indicators. We have the most voted countries were Chile, Dominican Republic, Panama, Peru, and Colombia. And also we have developed a survey, and we spread it among our members, and the 6 and the 6 64.7% of participants have chosen Chile as the potential country to develop our research of the market. Here you could see different indicators that we also made to select Valparaiso as our target city. And we follow these indicators but to choose Valparaiso based on the GDP, under the population growth, and also the different dimension of their social economy, well-being, connectivity, social activity, education, health, security, and and we have developed our third exploratory missions in Santiago and in Valparaiso as a target city, and it was decided to carry the mission in Santiago de Chile because it's known that Chile is through a decentralization process, and the more representatives of the main stakeholders that we wanted to make some connections were located in Santiago de Chile. So we also went to Valparaiso to see the city, and we also have different meetings with the regional government to see the potential of the city to become to develop our concept as a green small smart cities. And here we have some of our memories during our exploratory missions. We were very welcome, and we really enjoyed the food and the hospitality to all of the Chilean people that were very happy to having us also. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriela, for this quick overview, but still very, very explanatory. I would like to introduce now Ms. Agata Horwacik, Project Coordinator and Specialty Technician Consultancies and Training Deputy at the Aragón Hydrogen Foundation. And Agata will introduce us the H2 Global project, namely European Green Hydrogen Cluster Alliance for Internationalization, which, as we said during the introduction, is partnering with the Green Small Smart Cities Consortium for the development of this webinar. Agata, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lucia, for such a nice introduction. So I will quickly share my screen. Yeah, okay, I believe that you can already see it properly.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, perfect. First of all, hello and good afternoon to everyone. I'm really happy to see such a nice audience today. I'm also really happy because I already see some faces that we already saw on our previous webinar from H2 Global. But at the beginning, I would like to really thank Gabriela, Katia, who unfortunately I guess is not present here today, and the whole Green Smart Cities Consortium for inviting us to participate in this initiative, in this webinar, and for such a warm welcome. So given that both our projects, H2 Global and Green Smart Small Cities, as Lucia said, share many aspects such as this support for the development and innovation and sustainable solutions, we also share a common target country where we will carry out our activities, which is Chile. So once more, thank you for this opportunity, and it's our pleasure to be able to collaborate with you today. My name is Agata Horwacik. I'm representing today Aragón Hydrogen Foundation. I am the project coordinator from the Aragón Hydrogen Foundation, where I work as a specialist technician. I form a part of Consultancy and training department. The Aragón Hydrogen Foundation has been created in 2003, so we're already involved in the sector of hydrogen and sustainable solutions for almost 20 years already, where we work on transversal aspects associated with the hydrogen value chain. such as training, environmental studies, feasibility studies, regulation, and the hydrogen market. So therefore, you can see that the H2 Global project, whose objective, similarly to Green Smart Cities, is to dynamize this cross-border collaboration between companies and create new alliances, clearly falls within the scope of the foundation. For H2 Global
sorry
project,
to interrupt, Agata. If you're showing some other slides, I'm still seeing the first.
No, not yet. I will.
Okay.
Sorry, it was a long introduction. I'm sorry.
No. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't sharing other slides. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you very much for keeping an eye. Yeah, just to conclude this, as I was saying, that this is already our second webinar of this type dedicated to our target countries, in which we will develop our activities in the upcoming months. So I'm really looking forward to all the presentations of today. And I hope you're as eager as me to learn more about business opportunities in Chile. But yeah, before we pass to the main part, I would like to introduce you a little bit to our project and what is the objective of H2 Global in principle. So our H2 Global project, with full name of European Green Hydrogen Cluster Alliance for Internationalization, has been co-founded by European Union's COSME program and has a duration of 30 months and has already been initiated in September of the previous year, 2021. So we already run our activities under this project for over 1 year, and we expect to finalize this project at the beginning of 2024. Yeah, so just a couple of words about the development of the project and its main aim. So as I said, the H2 Global project focuses especially on the support for the development of companies, especially SMEs, as in case of Green Smart Cities, also various organizations and associations along the widely understood green hydrogen value chain, as well as positioning of Europe as a global technological leader in green hydrogen economy. So what are the specific objectives of the project that will help to achieve this main goal? The specific objectives of the H2 Global project include such activities as creation and promotion of European strategic cluster partnership. Moreover, it also focuses on the intensification of this cross-border and also cross-sectoral collaboration, both on national and international level. Also, one of the most important objectives of the project is to give a better support to previously mentioned medium and small companies in the global competition, and the contribution to the creation of new SMEs across the green hydrogen value chain. And last but not least, the project looks for the mutual exchange and the development of the international collaboration projects. So as I said, the project is already running for over a year, and therefore I would also like to describe you very shortly our main activities that we are carrying out under H2 Global. From our main actions, we can distinguish the assessment of the competences, needs and synergies within the project consortium, which, let's say, was the first activity which created a solid base for the development of our future and further activities. The following action include the definition and establishment of meta cluster formed of 5 European clusters forming a project consortium, and the preparation of the toolkit for internationalization based on peer learning and exploratory actions, including such a workshop and the webinars such as this we are participating in today. So this will allow for the preparation in the next steps of the international strategy and the development of roadmap for implementation of this strategy in the upcoming months for our activities on the international level. Also, an important point is the communication and dissemination of knowledge related with the hydrogen economy and hydrogen technologies among our cluster partners and beyond, of course. And finally, last but not least, the activities related with the project management and coordination that ensure the proper development of the previously mentioned activities and the proper communication between among our consortium. So a few words about the internationalization, which, as you can see, is a key element both in H2 Global project as in Green Smart Cities. But before we speak about the internationalization strategy, I would like to also briefly introduce our consortium, led by Aragón Hydrogen Foundation and composed of clusters being experts in clean hydrogen technologies, or in general sustainable technologies, being the Energy cluster from Portugal, Cap Energies from France, Italian cluster Green Tech, which is the common element in both of our projects, and a cluster of hydrogen technologies from Poland. So the aim of our consortium is to form so-called European Strategic Cluster Partnership going international, which focuses on the cluster collaboration in internationalization, well tailored to support and promote the hydrogen-related companies in our target countries such as Chile, Brazil, Morocco, and South Korea in this case. So as you can see, H2 Global is, I would say, a younger brother of our parallel project. We still have those actions ahead of us, so we are expecting to develop those activities and visit our target countries in the year 2023. So the main task of our clusters right now is to bring together the companies from Europe and beyond in order to intensify this cross-sectoral and cross-border collaboration. And just to finish, I just wanted to share with you our story and, let's say, successful experiences from our missions that were carried on European level, bringing together the SMEs from our 5 countries. I will not go into the details right now because we are lacking a little bit of time, but as you can see, during this year we visited each of the 5 countries forming our consortium. Also the visits, I think we learned a lot as a consortium. We were able to establish many very interesting and fruitful collaborations and new contacts. So we are hoping to repeat this success in the upcoming year and bring it to the next level. So yeah, just if you would like to follow our actions, I also strongly encourage you to take a look on our website, where we regularly publish the news and information on the upcoming activities, as well as our project social media, LinkedIn and Twitter, where you can also find us under the H2 Global Alliance for Internationalization name. So thank you very much for this time frame reserved for me. That's it from my side. And thank you very much again for your attention.
Thank you very much, Agata, for your nice presentation. As you said before, it's true, we have lots of similarities in this project and this consortiums. So I really believe it's important to create alliances and to find opportunities to collaborate together. And so let's now just jump to the core of today's session, which is business insights regarding the Chilean market. So it is my pleasure now to invite Juan Cristóbal Palma Orellana, General Manager of Santiago, which is a very interesting smart city program that Juan Cristóbal is going to share with us. So we can share your presentation and start your speech.
Thank you very much, Lucia, and very nice to say hi to everybody. It's my pleasure to be again in this meeting. We had the chance to receive you here in Santiago, and please, you're all welcome to further our relationships here in Chile. You will always be well received, and we're eager to continue furthering relationships both in the project development and on different kind of concrete activities and business and projects that we can develop both from your cluster in Chile and for the opportunity for us to bring our solutions to the European Union. Lucia, I don't know how the presentation will work, because I don't have like any kind of button to show or to move into the slides.
Okay, so in theory, you should see an arrow next to the leave button. So on the top section of the Teams window, you should find yeah, like a button with an arrow to share your screen. And if you have troubles with sharing your presentation,
sorry, you want me to share my screen?
If you could, it would be great.
If you could, yes, I also could have your presentation, but if I don't mind, if you would like me to present it.
No worries. Let me share it. Sorry about this. Give me a second, and I'm gonna share my screen. A second. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and now I can share my screen. Are you seeing the presentation?
Yes. If you just could maximize it. Yes. That's great. Fantastic.
It's awesome. Thanks. So first, I'm taking into account some of the things both Lucia and Agata were explaining in their presentations. Well, we're the program from Corfo. Corfo is the development agency, the Chilean development agency, that had for a plan how to further business related to smart cities in Santiago, the big Santiago and the metropolitan region, and to scale them into a national level. Nowadays, what's our vision? It's to make Santiago the biggest and smartest city in Latin America, and to turn it into a reference of innovation, sustainability, and competitiveness. And our value proposition is to enable both public and private actors to further and develop solutions for smart cities in Chile and the rest, and in Chile as a whole, and further their quality of life. So this is something very interesting and interesting regarding on your choice on Valparaíso. It's because Santiago is the top one smart city in Latin America, but that ranking can take or can lead into some consequences that it's very important to tell. First, we're the first or top one city in Latin America, but we are number 75 in the ranking worldwide. So even though we're the first in Latin American region, we have a lot to move forward and to grow to become a leader in the whole world, you know, and that's one of our goals. Sorry, right now I'm taking this meeting in my house, and I have 2 cats, so they're trying to play with me. Sorry for that. And the second important thing is that even though Santiago is the top one smartest city in Latin America, it's the only city in Chile that makes it to the top charts. So that's important and interesting, because even though Santiago has been working on a very firm framework of smart cities development, it is very important for other cities in Chile to make this commitment and develop a strong program as well, so we can grow as a country. So that's interesting on your decision on working with Valparaíso. And even though we're a completely different city, we are totally committed to help you in your work around that you need to create and develop strong projects here in Chile. So in how's our approach on smart cities here in our Corfo strategic program is understand first that to develop a smart cities solution, it's crucial to engage and to work with the city's government. So we have an alliance here in Santiago with the Gobierno Regional, the regional government. Here in Santiago, we have a particular case in which Santiago, even though it's a big city, it's divided into different communes. So we don't have one leader, we don't have like a super or big mayor for all the city. That role is developed by the governor. So Claudio Rego is the governor of the Región Metropolitana, and he is the leader on the development planning for the Región Metropolitana as a whole. So we work with them, understanding that to develop and to implement different kind of smart city solution, we have to be solving directly problems for the city. And the best way to do it is engaging the different offices that are working on the plan for the city. So we made a framework in which Corfo is helping and furthering entrepreneurs and companies to develop solutions to solve the problems that Gobierno Regional is showing us that Santiago is having. Fundación País Digital is the administrator of our program, and it's a foundation that is well related with tech-based companies. So I shared with Lucia this brief presentation. Then you can see the different companies, big companies that are part of our board of directors. We made a working system in which we take big companies and we further the creation of, we promote the creation of partnerships programs in which little entrepreneurs and little companies can partner with big companies to scale their business and also to reach other different parts of the region or different kinds of contracts that by their own terms, they wouldn't be either able to comply or to meet the requirements to apply in the different public biddings. So we also made a partnership program in which big companies help little companies to be part of the ecosystem and to both develop solutions and participate in different kind of public biddings, so they can be the ones executing such solutions. And third, and this is our invitation for your cluster, we assessed 4 different areas in which we found some gaps in smart city development that are both attended and developed in our program for solution. We named them strategic axes. There are 4. First is mobility, second environment, third security, and 4 the different enablers. First, our first strategic axis is mobility. We need people to have faster and simpler ways to move within the city. We need companies to have easier and faster way to move also within the city. But we also are eager to promote different kind of new technologies, such as electromobility, the uses for green hydrogen in solutions for both people's movement and companies' logistics problems that we are facing as a country. The second related to environment, in which we are taking focus in the solution of water problems we're facing drought, and different problems we're facing here in Chile, the optimization of our natural resources. And also within the electric industries and requirements we're facing as a country. Third, we're facing problems related to security. And security had two different aspects that we are attending. First, security related into crime rates, criminal issues people are facing. And second, on cybersecurity, how we provide a strong framework that can enable the proper functioning of the city. If you have cybersecurity problems in the city, services can go down, can go black, and that generates the issue that the city is not working. So we're taking security in these two different aspects. And third, what we call enablers, in which we try to develop to further solutions that can bring both connectivity and the strength of a good framework for both people and companies can develop their activities fully connected with using the different networks and technologies for the development of their own businesses and activities. So here you can see in the presentation we have different level of maturity in both one of the different areas of development within the program. Then you can see it on the presentation that Lucia can share with you. What's the importance on this slide is that we are eager to receive companies from Europe or different parts of places in the world to solve the problems we're facing, and because that they have two virtuous relationships. By one hand, it can by one hand it furthers economy. We can promote the business creation, promote jobs. We can move forward the economy. But second, it furthers the knowledge and the discussion on comparative experiences on technology development and projects in Chile. So this plays like a double role. By one hand, it brings some further business. By the other hand, people here in Chile can know and learn how to deploy and how to execute different kind of technological projects that we need them to know. And our main projects in this are related to, well, we have a water efficiency for green areas project, mobility management, network for the development of businesses from Chilean businesses that we're deploying different parts of the world. We went to Dubai, we're going now to San Francisco, and we're working on, this is very interesting because we're waiting, more than working. We're waiting the results of a public bidding in which Santiago is part for the creation of a 5G technologies scaling center. And this project will enable 5G connectivity within all the metropolitan region for the furtherance of connectivity for the different enterprises, little businesses and people, which creates an unlimited opportunities of technical development within the area. So just to end the presentation, and thank you for your time. I want to end this presentation, Lucia, inviting everybody, to further relationship in Chile, even though your target is to work within a plan in Valparaíso. having Santiago as a partner or as a partner for the development of such projects is a good opportunity for you, because not in a positive way, Santiago, Chile is a very centric country. So many things happen in Santiago. So we would be happy to help you, even though it's another city, to help you in all the different ways you can develop and work on other cities in our beautiful country. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Juan, Cristóbal. It was a very nice presentation and very insightful. I can only confirm that actually going to Chile is really a powerful way of seeing how collaboration could arise. So I think that for smart cities, having the possibility to partner with the program funded by Corfo is surely a very important and powerful way to start a collaboration. Let's now move to the second presentation regarding Chile. This time we're going to talk about renewable energy and green hydrogen. And the person that is going to explain this panoramic, this overview about energy is Christoff Janse, Foreign Investment Promotion Officer at InvestChile. So Christoff, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to my colleagues in Chile. Thank you, Lucia, for the introduction, and I just wanted to say thank you also for the invitation, and to our colleagues at SOLARTYS for the invitation and the organization. I just wanted to check if you can see the presentation.
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect. So the main objective of what I wanted to present today is just a brief overview of where we are with renewable energy in Chile and how this lays the foundation for what comes next. And that is the green hydrogen strategy that is being developed and built here in Chile. So on the first slide, and there's a lot of information here, but I just want to talk you through it. On the left-hand side, you'll see there's a map of the country, and we have the three distinct energy grids that we have, and the overall generation capacity that we have in Chile is almost 30 gigawatts at the moment, and you will see that 99% of that is concentrated in the continental part, the green part that we can see there on the map. And then in the south, the two regions in the south, that's the northern Patagonia area of Aysén, and then we get the southern Patagonia region of Magallanes. And these are very low population density areas, and also because of the geography, it makes it very difficult to connect the electric grid. And that's also why we have this situation where these are also the two regions that still rely mostly on fossil fuels. And you can see that in the central part, or the green part of the map, there the energy grid is much more diverse. And we've reached a situation now where almost 50% of the energy generation is actually coming from renewable energy. And then the other sources, so if we look at the top circle graph there, as we go around clockwise, we'll see that still there's 16% that is coal generated. And it's just important to mention that as part of the strategy to decarbonize in Chile, to have full decarbonization by 2050, the goal is to decommission all of the coal generation by 2040. And we're actually ahead of schedule in this plan. A lot of the companies have already started decommissioning before the due dates. So as we go around there in that circle graph, so we have 16% coal generation, 13% wind, Also 13% natural gas, which is still part of the fossil fuel side. Then we have dams, reservoirs, 12%, and going around 11% hydro generation. Then we still have some diesel, which act as backup generation, and 17% solar. And when we look at the right-hand graph there, you can see the exponential growth that we've had over the last decade in terms of renewable energy. So when we go back to 2013, 2014, this is really when things started kicking off, and with the growth in renewable energy. And over the last 7 years, the footprint of renewable energies have multiplied by tenfold. And this was led by the solar, the installation of solar photovoltaic plants. And then also in the number 2 position there, you can see the wind energy. And just to finish off on this slide, I wanted to mention that all of this growth in renewable energy was achieved without any subsidies or financial incentives. The energy sector in Chile is 100% in the private sector, and they were able to do this because of the natural advantages and the natural conditions that we have in Chile. So we have the highest solar radiation in the north and the central parts of the country, and in the south we have very favorable wind conditions. So it just goes to show you that the industry, they were able to use these natural advantages to grow the footprint of renewable energy. And this now leads us to the question, what comes next? And that is where the green hydrogen strategy comes in. And that is the long-term strategy of the government to capitalize on these natural advantages that we have, and also the lowering of prices of renewable energy generation. So just on the screen there, you can see the opening page of this national green hydrogen strategy that was released by the Ministry of Energy and also the government. And that sets out the roadmap of this development process. And on this slide, I just wanted to show who all the institutions and all the different moving parts, because this is obviously a multi-sector and multi-institutional approach where everyone plays an important role. So on the left-hand side there, you'll see all the major generation and distribution companies that are present in Chile. A lot of them are internationally known companies. And then we also have some very important sector associations. So we have the Solar Concentration Group, the generators of Chile, and also the Solar Group, Acera, and all the other ones that play a role in this. And then obviously H2 Chile is one of the overlapping ones that coordinate all of these initiatives. And then on the right-hand side there, you'll see the authorities. Obviously, this initiative is led by the Ministry of Energy, but also the electric coordinator plays a role, the Ministry of Economy, and Corfo, which is the Industrial Development Agency, and the previous speaker, he's with that institution. And then on the next slide, this is just a summary of the main goals that has been set out and where we've come so far. So when we look at 2025, there's already $5 billion of investment that has been committed to the strategy, and it is estimated that we'll have 5 gigawatts of electrolysis capacity by 2025. And then moving more into the long term, by 2030, it's estimated that we'll have 25 gigawatts of electrolysis capacity. And also the estimation is that Chile will have a cost of production of $1.5 per kilogram of hydrogen. And this was done in a study, an international study by McKinsey and Company, and that puts Chile in the favorable position of having the lowest cost of production of hydrogen in the world. And Chile will leverage that cost advantage to become a major exporter to some of the industrial countries around the world that will be off-takers of this hydrogen. But we won't only export, although it is estimated that exports will be the main component of the strategy, but there is also some local demand, and there's a strategy to engage with the big industrial companies. Obviously, Chile is a very big mining country, so the mining companies are getting involved to see how they can also use the hydrogen in the haul trucks, the big size trucks that transport the material. There are also some projects for blending in the gas pipelines, use in the steel refineries, and also in energy storage. And this all forms part of the overall strategy. And in the next slide, we will see how the cost estimate is projected over the next couple of years. So around 2030, that is seen as the key point where green hydrogen, as you can see there in the green band, will become equal to the gray hydrogen, the industrial hydrogen. And that really is the tipping point of this whole strategy. And when we look at the countries that will be playing a role there around 2030, on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see that there will be countries that are net importers, where they will not reach the cost efficiency that we will, for example, in Chile, and those countries will probably be net importers at the end of the day. And we're looking at industrially developed countries such as Korea and Japan. And then right at the bottom, you get all the countries that will really reach a cost efficiency in terms of the production cost, such as Chile. As we've already mentioned, it's estimated that we'll have some of the lowest production costs, but also countries like Spain, Saudi Arabia, and Australia will play a role there. And in the next slide, this is just these are some of the main points of the strategy as it has been laid out. And one of the starting points was internally preparing the local ecosystem for the development of this industry. And here, Corfo has played a key role in kickstarting this industry, because Chile in general, as I've mentioned before, it's not a country that has the capability or legally to have a lot of tax subsidies or financial incentives. But Corfo, as the development agency, they're the one institution in Chile that they do have that capacity, and they've used it already to have some startup funds available, and they've made $15 million available for the first pilot projects to produce green hydrogen. And in the following slides, we'll look a little bit more on the projects that have used some of those funds. So the second point there is the export agreements, where through the Ministry of Foreign Relations and Foreign Affairs, they are constantly engaging with these industrial countries that might be potential off-takers in the future. And the other points there, to facilitate project development, I've already mentioned that through the subsidies and the co-investment that Corfo has. And there's also regional coordination that is very important in this whole strategy, because the main factor that you want to promote is to have shared infrastructure, so that every company and every project doesn't need to construct its own port for exporting or piping facilities or whatever, but it's very important to have a coordinated effort so that you can share infrastructure and also to bring down the costs and increase the efficiency. And I've already mentioned the the important factor of stimulating local demand, where we are also working with the local companies to see how they can use this green hydrogen and help Chile itself decarbonize, not only to export to the foreign countries, but also to decarbonize internally. And here on this slide, you can just see all of the different strategies or pieces coming together. There are internal regulatory issues that need to be solved. And this is, for example, where the public lands ministry plays a role too, to set aside specific areas or regions where these projects can be developed, and also the regulation around that infrastructure. Some of the other regulatory changes that has already been made is, for example, to classify hydrogen as a fuel. There was a legal gap before where it wasn't classified yet, and that means that you have to change that so that green hydrogen can be standardized, and the use of it can be standardized and fall under all the international standards and norms that we need. Some of the other points there, projects and financing, or project financing, and that is where Corfo plays a major role. The universities in terms of research and development, and then also, as I've mentioned, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through international diplomatic channels where they engage with other countries and also other foreign companies to be potential off-takers of this green hydrogen. And just to wrap up this presentation, I wanted to briefly show you some of the green hydrogen projects that are already, that have been declared, that are being constructed, and it will give you an idea of how this strategy is moving forward and in which areas of the country. So on this first slide, here you can see the companies that have participated in this financial incentive round of co-investing that was sponsored by Corfo. So the whole objective behind this was to kickstart some of these projects and basically have a proof of concept in terms of pilot plants. And you can see there some of the international companies and also local companies that have participated. We have NG, Acciona, CAP. They're the steel manufacturing company in Chile, and also Enel. They've all participated in this round of financing, and these projects are already getting underway. And then the next tier of projects, here we have some funds for pre-investment studies, and these are some of the companies that are participating in that. Cerro Dominador, they are a concentrated solar plant in the north, and they are moving ahead with a potential green hydrogen project too. And then we have Antuco, Statkraft, that's the Norwegian state company. They also have a project here. RWE, that's the German company. So there's a lot of interest coming from all over. And then lastly, here are some of the other green hydrogen projects that have been announced. We have the mainstream renewable energy, AES, Andes, the North American power company. We have Enel. Interesting also to see Anglo-American. So the mining companies are also strongly getting involved to reduce their carbon footprint and see where they can be off-takers of the green hydrogen. So this was just to give you a brief overview of the projects that they're happening, they're being built, there's been declared investment. And if there are any questions, you're more than welcome to contact us, where we can share a little bit more with you regarding the strategy. But that is what I wanted to present to you today, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, Christoff, for your nice presentation. It's really an impressive program, and I think it's also very inspiring, because it puts really the renewable energies at the center of future plans. Let's now keep within the field of renewable energy, and let's talk about marine energies and marine energy opportunities in Chile. It is my pleasure to invite Bárbara Guzmán, project manager at OpenSea Lab, to share their very interesting research. Bárbara, whenever you want.
Thank you very much, Lucia. And thank you also for this invitation. I'm really happy to be here and to see you again, both Gabriela and Lucia. Are you seeing my screen, my presentation?
Now, yes.
Okay. So good morning or good afternoon to everyone. I will talk today, how Lucia was saying, about marine energy and its opportunities for Chile, and also why not in Latin America, because in other parts of the world it's already happened too much with marine energy, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So first thing I want to tell you is that we as Energía Marina or MERIC Center have been focusing our work in working in 3 kinds of marine energy, because there's a lot more, but we're only focusing in 3 because they are the ones that can be applied to Chile. The first one is wave energy, and also have been studied, obviously, some of these technologies, the technologies that have been progressing more than others to commercial state or pre-commercial state. And these are just some examples that I want to show you. Echo wave power, for example, is a technology that goes that can be fixed to a pier or a dock in any port. That can these paddles, I don't know how to say, these arms that go fixed to the pier, move up and down with the movement of the waves, and that goes to a generator that produces electricity. Then we have this Onica device from Canada. This is a very interesting device because it takes the advantage, or it takes wave energy to produce sweet water or potable water. Because here in the surface, you can see that it has like a small reverse osmosis plant. So it takes the water from the sea, desalinated, and then delivered to any client or any user. Then we have the Power Buoy from Ocean Power Technologies from the USA. This is a device that is called a point absorber that also takes advantage of the movement, of the vertical movement of the waves, and turn it into a rotation movement, and then to a generator to produce electricity. Also, Core Power Ocean from Sweden. This one has the same mechanism that this one. This is also a point absorber, so just that it changes in size. Core Power is a little more big than the PB3, and also it has like all the motion mechanism like enclosed. It's not the case for the PB3. So then we have focusing a lot on tidal energy, mostly because in Chile we have a very big and very rich resource from tidal currents that I'm going to talk about later. And we have been focusing mostly in these 3 technologies that are more at a pre-commercial state or a commercial state. First, we have the O2 from Scotland, from Orbital Technology Developer, that this is the one that produces more and more power. This has a rated power of 2 megawatts. This one has a rated power of 400 kilowatts, and this like from 0.15 to 2 megawatts. The previous one, the waste one, these technologies have been more different in time and more difficult to address, like a unified technology. And that's the reason, because it's still in development and in growth. And these technologies go from 100 kilowatts to 2 megawatts per unit, per device. So this, as you can see, has a more unified mechanism, or PTO as we call it, as a power takeoff mechanism. Is the way that these devices take the energy from the ocean and transform it or convert it to electricity. Here you can see that we have turbines in all of the devices, just like the ones that wind has, wind turbines. But the only difference is that the flux is not air, but water. And then we have focused a little bit in floating offshore wind turbines, because here in Chile, why floating and not fixed? As you know, there are fixed ones that go fixed to the bottom or to the seabed. But here in Chile, we have to focus on floating ones, because here in Chile, as we have the different plaques, different continental plaques, differential heights, we have big depths near to the shore in most of the coastline of Chile. So if you want to go further, further the coast for not to generate a visual contamination to certain communities, you have to go way to the west, and by that distance you have to use floating devices, like the ones we show you, like the ones I show you here. Fixed bottom devices are more at a commercial state mostly in Europe, and they are using it a lot of. They have been using it for a lot of years, and floating devices have been less. They have been tested less, but they also are going to be a big part of floating offshore wind generation. So we, Energía Marina and MERIC, Marine Energy Center, we were created in 2015 by the Ministry of Energy and Corfo. Christoff already explained what Corfo says is an agency that promotes economic growth. And the aim of this call, they were calling up different consortiums to apply to this grant. The aim of this call was to insert marine energy markets in Chile and also create knowledge and know-how that was not there before. So since we are at the beginning of our operation, we had to create a Chilean company, that is Energía Marina company, along with two founding partners, that is one naval group from France and then Enel Green Power from Chile and also from Italy. So along with them, we have partnered up with two universities, two Chilean universities, Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile and Universidad Austral de Chile. And together we have formed MERIC Center. MERIC comes from the name Marine Energy Research and Innovation Center. We are the only and first marine energy research center in Chile until now. So our vision is to become a national and international leader in the promotion of marine energy, of marine renewable energy in Latin America and also obviously in Chile. And we want to do that delivering our services gained by our knowledge and know-how through the years, delivering to different industries like maritime industries, renewable energy industries, or any end user of the ocean. So as I said at the beginning, we had to start with what are the problems that marine energy has today or had in 2015 to solve, to implement a technology or to deploy a big project, for example, in Chile or anywhere else. So here in Chile, we came up with a lot of problems that already have been studied in other countries. For example, biofouling. Biofouling is little organisms or big or small organisms that can be attached to any material or device made by men. So this can be a risk for any technology that goes into the sea because it can risk operations. So for energy, for marine energy converters, it is a big risk also because the electricity generation depends on the motion of the device in some of these components. So it's a really big risk if you don't assess it right, if you don't analyze it right. Then we have marine corrosion that is known for everybody. Corrosion can affect any material that goes in the water or near the shore or near the ocean. Then we have a very important one that is resource assessment. As I said, we have been focusing on waves and tidal currents mostly through the years because Chile is has this privilege to have a really good resource in waves and in tides in some parts of Chile. Then we have estimated the levelized cost of energy and assessed the supply chain that we would need to fabricate some of the components of these converters, or maybe fabricate them in all of their extent, and also what we will need from other parts of the world to develop here a project. The estimation of the level cost of energy was made for waves and tidal in different kinds of Chile, and also for different kind of scales of projects. Then we have developed an interactive territorial platform that has different variables to assess, for example, different locations, to see how legal conflicts can be approached, among certain locations, for example, of marine uses. We have marine concessions. We have areas that are destined to agriculture. Then we have areas destined to marine protected areas. So all of these database is also in this platform, along with our other variables that for any client or investor, or even people that are curious, want to see how marine energy could deploy in some locations, or what are the concerns to have to deploy a project. Then we have two tank facilities that I'm going to show you afterwards that assess different things, and you can work on different things on them. And then we have studied a lot how these marine energy technologies can be adapted to Chilean conditions. And I mean conditions like we have extreme conditions here in Chile, extreme weather conditions. We have a lot of storms during the winter. The sea is very harsh on those months. And also how these technologies could integrate to another productive processes or to another industries, like, for example, aquaculture. We have here in Chile now a program from Corfo also that is moving aquaculture from the shore, moving it to offshore. So in that movement, they have to resolve the problem that by energy, how they can give energy or generate energy in this offshore location, in this offshore new location. So it's a big challenge to resolve with them, and we can, of course, add value to that assessment. So we have 3 different locations here in Chile. The first one is right here on the left, is Las Cruces. Las Cruces is a location that is in Valparaíso region, in the center, almost the center of Chile. There we have the biofouling and corrosion laboratories. And then we have the open sea lab that I'm going to tell you afterwards. Then in Santiago, we have a testing tank that simulates hydrodynamic fluids or current dynamics to see how particles move through these dynamics. And we also used to have an office in Santiago, but with the COVID pandemic, we started working online and then stayed that way until now. So most of the team that is in the universities working are not working online, but only our administrative team. And then in Valdivia, that is this point right here, more to the south, but not extreme south, also has a testing site that is a very big and important one in Chile, because it can create or simulate different kinds of waves. And as you can see, you can test different small devices, floating devices at a small scale to assess their performance. So as we, at the same time that we are developing knowledge and know-how in marine energy that we have gained through the years, this knowledge we want to deliver, as I said, to the industry. And we have developed 4 areas of services that we can deliver today. The first one are marine energy technology systems that regards all of floating system devices that want to be deployed. It could be marine energy devices or not. It could be any instruments, and we help them or support any client that wants to deploy certain device, floating device or floating system. Then we have ocean resistant materials. Here we try to test different kinds of material for corrosion and biofouling, and also a mix of them that is called biocorrosion at sea, at laboratory, and also in models. And then we have also renewable projects. Here we develop big kind of hopefully energy projects, marine energy projects in Chile. Chile has become in a very interesting place to develop this kind of projects because, well, as you can see, we have more than 4 kilometers of coastline here in Chile, and we also have a very special environment. We have the Humboldt Current that is a very special and unique kind of place for organisms to grow in the ocean. And we have a more oxygen, because of our geography, we have a more oxygen sea because our sea is more exposed to waves. And so it becomes a really good environment and a really good location to test any device. And then we have sea emerging markets that apply to, for example, green hydrogen integrations with marine energy, and for example, solar PV. At this time, we have also been working a little bit in that. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about the OpenSea project. This project, the goal is to assess the potential of wave energy in Chile in this zone. And as I said before, it was in Las Cruces. Here is located the OpenSea Lab, and aims to assess the wave potential in the central zone of Chile, and also to assess the conditions that this electricity is producing in this area. And this project, the layout is this that you can see here. We have the wave energy converter, the PV3 that I showed you before in the previous slide. This PV3, as I said, takes advantage of the vertical movement of the waves, then turn it into a rotation movement, and here we have the generator that produces the electricity. Also, we have here a very small pack of batteries that can store some energy in case of big storms, for example, that the device is kind of enters into a security mode and it's not producing electricity. So the produced energy goes through this umbilical cable. This umbilical cable delivers energy to these devices. We have here 2 junction boxes that help us to unite with the different devices that measure different things. First, we have the ADCP. ADCP is a current profiler that measures currents and waves. It measures direction and magnitude of currents, and then height and direction of waves. And this is at a 35 meters depth. And then we have this line, the second line, that has 2 water quality sensors at different depths, at 5 and 15 meters depth. And they measure pH, temperature, pressure, salinity, chlorophyll, dissolved oxygen, among others. So these devices produce real-time data 24/7, and the data is delivered by the same cable. And the cable goes through the PV3, and here we have a Wi-Fi antenna that connects to our shore station that I'm going to show you afterward, that is from our partner Universidad Católica, that is an ecology station of research. And we also have here a Wi-Fi antenna that communicates with the PV3 and trespasses or send all the data that we want to analyze and process. Here also we have a X-band wave radar that helps us to measure surface waves and currents. And we also have a weather station that helps us measure different environment conditions like wind, radiation, rainfall, etc. This distance, the PV3 is at a distance 1 kilometer from the shore. So this is a very short video that I want to show you from the installation process that we had last year. This project was deployed on April 2021. So we have been operating it since more than 1 year. It's working. The PV3 has been working perfectly fine and generating energy. It's a small device, as you can see. It's not such a big device to complex a lot of marine operations, but also it's a very delicate device. So you have to be careful with the cables, with certain components also that had to be integrated in the process. This is the San Antonio port. San Antonio port is like less than 10 kilometers from Las Cruces point that we had to be deployed. This is the radar that I was telling you about. And we also have here a set of an office that we have two sets of data acquisition system where we gather all the information, the real-time data that is generating and processing automatically in those servers, and then sending it to a cloud and sending it to another storage to share with all the team. And also we have been sharing this information with a community of scientists that help us to assess different kinds of things depending on their disciplines, expertise, and specialties. These are just pictures that I want to show you. This was the day before that the PV3 was deployed and thrown to the water. This was a lot of days before the PV3 goes to the water, because a lot of work has to be done today. I mean, done before. For example, this organization of the chain. This chain goes in the mooring lines. We have 3 mooring lines to the PV3 that goes at 35-meter depth, and they have to be previously organized to then throw them in order to the water and not mess up any operation. And they have to be thrown one by one. I mean, for example, all the operation lasted, I think, 80 days, and because you have to first deploy or install one mooring line, then the another, then bring the buoy, and etc. It's a very slow process because you have to do everything very good. And this was one of the tugboats that was used. This is one of the auxiliary buoys that is deployed today along with the PV3. This was the morning, the very early morning that we threw the PV3 on the water in the port. So the PV3 was taken to the Las Cruces point by sea because it was the safest way to do it. And this is the station that I was talking about from Universidad Católica. Here we have the radar, the X-band radar that is working 24/7. And here is the PV3, or the tugboat that is installing the PV3. As you can see it right from the shore, it's not that far. And this is the station. This is the whole station, the Ecological Marine Research Station. And here we have the office where we process the data with the servers. And the last thing I want to tell you about is a project that we're working on, Magallanes. Magallanes, we are—
Bárbara, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are a bit short on time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So if you could just make a very quick presentation of this last project. Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to tell you this because we are aiming to deploy a tidal energy converter in Magallanes. The reason why we want to do that is because Magallanes is a very, as I said, has a very privileged resource in tidal currents, and we want to take advantage of that. And the people in Magallanes are really aiming to get renewable energy in their grid or their microgrids. And the other reason that we want to do that is because what was Christoff telling you before, we have a lot of green hydrogen production projects that are deployed right now and to be deployed in the next here from 5 years. So we are aiming to integrate marine energy to wind power production to produce green hydrogen. There, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bárbara. Very nice presentation. Also massive work, very inspiring. And we do hope to be able to visit your facilities sometime. So this was the last presentation of the session. I think we still have a couple of minutes for a Q&A. If you have doubts, questions, if you want to ask something to our presenters, you can raise your hand and start talking. So we have a question from Agata. Agata, you can open the
I
microphone.
just wanted to use this opportunity to launch a very quick question to Christopher from InvestChile. As we can see that hydrogen is going to play an important role in the economy of Chile. I just wanted to ask, given that Chile will focus strongly on the exports of hydrogen, but as you said, also on the domestic use, would you highlight any specific hydrogen areas, sectors that Chile is looking for, or types of collaborations? Would it rather be focused on storage, transportation, maybe direct use? How would you see that?
Yeah, thank you, Agata, for the question. And it's a very good one. I think one of the key issues around this whole hydrogen strategy is how to promote the local use. Chile is a relatively small country. It has some industrial sectors. I've already mentioned the mining sector is one. I would say probably potentially the biggest off-taker of hydrogen, potentially, just because of the size of the sector. Mining makes up between 10 and 15% of the GDP, depending on the copper price cycle. So with mining specifically, I think there the focus is how they can convert some of these long and heavy trucks that they use. How can they blend hydrogen, as a fuel, or to use it in terms of fuel storage? And then the other big application would be for the steel the steel smelting operations. Just a couple of weeks ago, we went to visit the operations of CAP in the south, and they have they're doing pre-feasibility studies of how they can blend in the hydrogen and use that as a fuel. I have heard some regarding blending hydrogen in the gas pipelines that we have in for domestic use. I've heard some varying opinions regarding that, whether it would actually make sense, just because of the scale and of the usage. So, getting back to your question, I think it's I think it's all of those different ones, all the way from port facilities, where there's a big gap still that we have in Chile to have the infrastructure in place to be able to export it. And then locally, they will focus on things such as the piping infrastructure, and then all the other different industrial uses that we were talking about. So there's not one specific one that I think they will focus on. It's more a multi-pronged approach.
Thank you, Christoff.
Thank you very much, Christoff.
There's another question for you in the chat from Ares. So why do companies should invest in Chile rather than investing in other South American countries like Brazil, in your opinion?
Sure. That's also a good question, and obviously it's going to be a bit biased, the answer. But what we usually promote when we promote Chile as an attractive destination is really the ease of business, of doing business in Chile. And the government over the last couple of years, they've really had a lot of initiatives to try and simplify the tax system, for example, or simplify the process of setting up a business in Chile. We do understand that all countries have a certain level of bureaucracy, and sometimes that can feel a little bit overwhelming once you in the process of setting up a business. But Chile ranks really well. If you look at the international rankings, and especially I'm going to focus now on Latin America, Chile is the #1 place in terms of ease of doing business and of setting up a business. And I don't want to point fingers to specific neighboring countries, but now that you mentioned it, Brazil, for example, we have a lot of companies from Brazil that want to set up in Chile or try and route their logistics through Chile, because the Brazilian tax system is very complicated, because they have the federal tax system and then they have the different provinces, and the way it's all linked, in different levels of taxation, etc. So it becomes really complicated. In Argentina, you have the whole currency issue where they're working on two different currency systems, basically, or exchange rates, if you will. And there are some restrictions on getting dollars out of the country, etc. So in a lot of the other jurisdictions, those type of things make it complicated to operate there.
Nice answer. Thank you very much. I think we have a related question somehow here in the chat. It's from Adriana, and she says, "Good afternoon. I have a question for Juan Cristóbal. Which main advantages European companies might have in Chile?" Thank you. So I think you already mentioned some, Christoff, you already mentioned some of these aspects. I don't know if Juan Cristóbal wants to add something.
Yes, of course, and thanks for the question. So first, in Corfo, we had a broad different programs for funding. So depending on where does the company come from, on what the company does, on the different sector that the company is aiming to, we can further and we can tailor different programs for both investment on the company and the projects they're working on. So and that's I want to be very cautious in this presentation, because I don't want to either interfere in the different guidelines of my colleague here from InvestChile, from Christoff, or on what I will say, but we can then send you, and we'll be glad to send you information on all the different programs and financing and finance for investments for projects and things we can do, tailored for different European companies. So just shoot me an email and we can provide information.
Thank you, Juan Cristóbal. I also wanted to point out that during our missions, we gathered lots of information. We made a preliminary study. We researched several reports, and we would be very happy to share the outcomes of these studies with all our members. So we also have some materials that we could share with our consortium if you're interested in. So feel free to email us and we can share the report with you. We have another comment or question from Francisco Javier. He says, "Hi, have you considered sustainability assessment to measure environmental social impacts for the hydrogen production?" I guess this goes to Christoff.
Sure. Thank you for the question. In the way the environmental assessment system is set up in Chile, it takes into account that there are different stages that you have to go through, and the communities and the consultation with the communities is one of the prerequisites that there's a space for that in the whole environmental analysis. It's a very transparent process in Chile, and in general, I think it is seen as being very thorough. Some of the companies might say sometimes that they feel it's too strict and too complicated and it takes too long, but there is definitely strong focus on getting every individual stage and study and assessment right. And that's just something that goes across the board. Whether it's renewable energy projects or mining projects, they have to apply the same standards. There's no exceptions being made just because something is seen as green or renewable energy. It doesn't necessarily make it easier for them to get through the environmental assessment stage. The same rules apply across the board.
Thank you, Christoff. Does anybody else have questions? I wanted to ask something to Juan Cristóbal, because we've talked a lot about energy today, but I have some doubts regarding the water sector. Of course, I'm biased because I'm from the water sector. So I saw that you mentioned water management among the objectives or challenges that needs to be tackled in your smart city program, and I wanted to know how you are going to implement this water management systems enhancement or improvement. Like what are the plans for tackling drought in Chile?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because it's now on how we are tackling the problem. The issue is in how municipalities and regional governments are tackling the problem, and how companies are providing solutions to achieve that or to solve that problems. Our program does not develop either studies or project to solve this, but to connect and to put into connection both the different social requirements from municipalities, regional governments, and the solutions provided by private companies. So to further on how we are tackling the problem, well, drought in the metropolitan region is a serious problem nowadays. We have a lot of communes that are facing the issue that they will not have water in a 20-year timeline. So they're actively developing plans, city plans, that cannot be developed by just one of such municipalities. They require working and designing plans with different municipalities as a regional plan to move water from different places. and they're currently working on these plans as well. I would gladly share with you the information that both municipalities and regional government can share from their side. As you know, we work with information that have different levels of confidentiality or publicity. So we gladly can be of help to give you the different connections with different municipalities or the regional government, so they can provide you very assertive information on what their plans on addressing this issue.
Thank you very much for your answer. I think we have time for one last question. I think Chiara wants to ask something. Chiara, you can open your microphone.
Yes, good afternoon and good morning. I'm from Forest Engineering. We are an Italian-based company. We work from 30 years in the oil and gas, and now we are approaching hydrogen production market. I have a question for Christoff. You've mentioned many projects incoming, and you've showed the main investors. My question is, a foreign company like Forest, which is based in Italy, how can get involved in these projects? Are there any I don't know, association that we can get in touch with to then get in touch with the investors and to promote our capabilities, or we have to directly approach the investors?
Thank you for that for that question. There are strong industry associations in Chile, and I think it's always a good approach to speak to them so that you can get to know who the local players are, and so that they can share their experiences with you. Chile is a very open economy. It's a very open country, so a lot of the main players in the country are actually foreign companies. So, a lot of Italian companies, for example, are present here in the infrastructure sector, in the energy sector as well. And it's always good to talk to them with regards to their experience. A lot of them have been here for several decades already. So one very good point of entry would be through the local chambers of commerce of, whether it's the Italian embassy or the French embassy or German or whatever the case may be. The second recommendation would be, as you mentioned, these industry associations. They are very powerful players in terms of lobbying, and they have very good contact with the government, and they engage with the different ministries on a regular basis. You mentioned the forestry sector, and that is also one of the key industries in Chile. We have mining, I've already mentioned. The agriculture sector is also very strong. And then we have a lot of forestry production. So there are, big players in that area, and there would be associations too that you can make contact with. And obviously the invitation is, to contact InvestChile. That's our role, to act as a bridge between the private sector and these industry players and the public sector. So we would be very happy to help assist you make contact with the necessary players. We have the agriculture and forestry is one of the sectors within InvestChile that we have a special sector executive that knows that industry very well. So we'd be more than happy to facilitate that contact.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Christoff.
much.
You're welcome.
I think we have time for one last question. If you have one.
Yeah, I do have one, but first of all, I would like to thank you, all of you, for your presentations. There is such a good information to share with our members that some of them are here enjoying the webinar. So this is one of the main objectives that we were looking for when we went to Chile to do our third exploratory mission. So this is a very good example of how this project has been successful at this point. So just for Bárbara, I would like to know that you mentioned that the MERIC has developed different technological capacities that were not present in Chile before. So in this sense, how did it is like too young to have developed this such a good progress during this time?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I am asking of the technological capacities that you have developed during this really short time. How could be that improvement possible in that short time? I mean, it's the regulations really helpful for developing this technological. It's also maybe Europe involved sharing some kind of capacity of technology.
Yes. Thank you. I understand now. We have made a lot of efforts in different areas, and we have also made a lot of alliances, international alliances, because, as I said, marine energy here did not exist before our existence. So what we had to think and follow what the world was doing by that time and what the world is doing now in terms of that. For example, the European Union has made a commitment in 2020 to engage and to develop different kinds of marine energy, from waves, from tides, and also from wind, from offshore wind. So we have been following those commitments, and as you know, we are way back in terms of reaching those commitments here regarding marine energy, but we are doing efforts for that to happen. Maybe not today, but in 5 years or in 10 years, marine energy would be an important energy here in Chile to develop and to insert the market, hopefully.
Thank you. Yes, I think that's the importance to collaborate with other regions of the world. Yes. In this case, with Europe, we are really open also to share every information that could be useful and helpful.
So thank you very much. I think it's the end of this webinar. I wanted once more to thank all the presenters. Thank you very much for all your valuable insights onto the Chilean market, but also our attendees, also very participating, very active, asking questions, which means that it was hopefully helpful to them as well. Thanks once more for joining us this afternoon, morning, and I hope to see you soon, both in presence and on online occasions. We remain available if you have any doubts or questions. We can talk by email.
Yes, and also we will be sharing the presentations with all the attendees. And so if you need any information or just don't hesitate to contact any of the cluster participants. So thank you so much to all of you for being here.
Thanks. Keep in touch.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much.